Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Bootcamp Blueprint, the place where personal trainers go to grow their bootcamp and social media. I'm super excited this week because I've got two of my favorite people in the world on the other end, actually. And not only are they two of my favorite people in the world, but they're probably two people that know more about growing your bootcamp and social media than anyone else in the world as well. So that's super exciting. And to add to that on top, they've just completed something like a 12-month tour where they've basically traveled the world and just gone to all the leading conventions all over the world, hearing everybody speak about how to grow your fitness business. So to summarize, these two people know a thing or two. So it should be a pretty exciting interview. Anyways, without further ado, let me introduce the one and only, or the two and only, Mr. Travis Mattern and Ms. Brenda Romaniello. How are you two going?
Good, thank you, Jono.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm amazing myself. Now, hey guys, I want to start this podcast off. I do this with all my guests. I'm not just picking on you two, with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Now, Travis, I know you're a big quote guy and you love those motivational memes and that sort of thing. So up to you. You can give us one, or Brenda can give us one, or both of you can give us one.
I personally, as Jono's tone probably suggests, quotes and memes and all those sort of things are usually not my go-to, but I'm sure Brenda probably has one that's going to work well.
For me, it's really hard to pick one specifically. You know, I have like millions that I go for. I think one that I actually got from CanFit Pro was, if you fall down 7 times, you get back up 8, you know, and the other one by Marie Forleo, who I love. There's one that goes something like, good is better than perfect. And I think that goes for a lot of things. You know, sometimes when you try to make something perfect and you don't put it out there because it's not perfect, it's not ready yet, that works for me to go, just put it out, it's good enough, it'll be great.
Finished is better than
Finished
perfect.
No, I think it's good is better than perfect. I like it. I actually twisted it and I usually say finished is better than perfect. But I think the saying actually goes, finished is better than good. But, you know, I think, you know, my quality standard is it has to be at least good. So I changed it a bit.
I agree. I love both those quotes, Brenda. I live by both of them myself. So I think your two quotes made up for Travis's lack there. So lucky you've got 2 there.
That's why we're a team.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, a lot of our listeners are probably listening. What is it that you two do? Like, Travis, I know you spend a lot of time on your dreadlocks, but apart from that, like, what do you do? You just take a boxing live video every week? And Brenda, what do you do? Are you just the camera woman here? Like, what is it that you guys do?
Tag along. I tag along for the ride, basically. So basically, you know, I started in as a teacher, primary school teacher, and then eventually finished my qualifications as personal trainer and end up working together in the same gym with yourself. And then we end up working at boot camp together and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, helped put together all the courses, most of the courses. And from there, you know, like you said, trying to give out content, trying to create content and yeah, help other PTs now, and trying to use my education knowledge to help educate other PTs, basically.
Love it. And that's, I'll just expand on Trevor a bit there. So yeah, his background on education is huge for us here at Fitness Education Online, because not only does he know a lot of stuff, he knows how to teach a lot of stuff as well. So if you need to learn how to do something, he's a good person to teach you, or if you want to learn how to teach someone else how to do something. And you'll see that if you've done our courses, you'll see he's really, really good at teaching. And he's also the head assessor as well. So if you've done any of our courses, he's probably the one that's passed you, or he might have even failed you. So I'll give you his address if you need to, you know.
Does happen.
Get that. Brenda, yourself, what do you do here?
All right. So you usually see me more behind the camera and behind the scenes. But I actually have a background on marketing. So I started working on digital marketing around 7 years ago. I worked for mainly an online business that ran a very successful casino online. So everything was basically digital marketing. So I did that for around 6 years. And then I transitioned to the fitness industry with Fitness Education Online. And then I absolutely love it because I think it's super interesting to work for ourselves and to be more creative and come up with new things. So yeah, that's the background. But to be honest, I try to be everything that I can be. I love that about us, that we don't have a specific role or title. We are all hands in. If something needs to be fixed, done, we just get rid of those titles and just do whatever we can to make the business grow.
Love it. And that's why I love these two so much, because they've got such good skill sets, completely different to each other and completely different to myself as well. So I'm super grateful that I've got both of you here with me. But anyways, let's get to this podcast here. Now, if I'm correct, you guys have, to summarize it, it hasn't really been like a tour sort of thing, but basically for 12 months, you've been to the 4 biggest conventions probably in the world. You've been to FILEX in Australia, you've been to FITEX in New Zealand, you've been to CanFit Pro in Canada, you've been to IDEA in the USA, and I'm guessing you've learned a wealth of knowledge in those 12 months and all those expos. Let's start with expos or conventions or those sort of things in general. What do you two think there? Is it a necessity that personal trainers should go to this thing, or is it more just if you've got the time, should you go, and should you only go to one, or should you travel and go to some other around the world? Just let me know your thoughts. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I'll go. I think it's important to go. So in my time in the fitness industry, I hadn't gone to FILEX or anything like that. And then when we went into FEO, basically my first FILEX, we presented at, essentially. So, and that was my first one. And then from there, like the FILEX to New FITEX to IDEA to CanFit Pro, I think it's super important to go, just because you don't get that opportunity to learn from such a broad amount of people from within the fitness industry. And it gives you, I think, a pretty good idea on where the fitness industry is heading, because these people are essentially leaders in the field, in various niches within the field of fitness as well. So I think giving yourself the opportunity to go and learn from these people will help further yourself. So whether it be in sales, whether it be in exercise prescription, whether it be in recovery, rehab, whatever, there's usually a broad range of presenters that you can learn from. And so I think it is important for PTs to get out there and do it, rather than just going to like a weekend course, whether it be a weekend specialization course in, say, boxing. This gives you the opportunity to, over 3-4 days, to see, you probably have at least 15 presentations you're going to go and see over those times. So you really get a chance to cram in a lot, and then you can go on from there to go, you know what, I want to learn more about X, Y, or Z, and then you can narrow in what you want to go and do. So it helps you narrow your focus, I think, like by opening lots of doors, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I'll give, actually, no, you go, Brenda, and then I'll give my take on it.
Yeah, so I think to me it's extremely important, because I think as a personal trainer, first of all, you get to be part of a massive community. I think CanFit Pro was celebrating their 25th anniversary, and they actually, at the keynote, they did by a show of hands, if it was your first year, 5th year, 10th year, 20th year, and you'll be surprised how many people have been going for 20 years. Yeah. It was incredible. They all got a standing ovation, but it was I would say maybe 10% of the people there. So I thought that was incredible, and I kept thinking to myself, why are these people coming back to these sort of events year after year? I really think it comes down to the community, feeling part of hanging out with the people that are exactly in the same shoes that you are. I think it's extremely important to connect to yourself, that part of yourself, that what makes you start being a personal trainer in the first place. You get to connect, renovate your strength, your energy, and get motivated to continue doing what you're doing and more. And the third thing that I think is important is for your skill development, not only on business, but also they are so rich, these conventions. You have business courses, you have exercises related things, you have more meditation or well-being related topics. So I think it's endless, the positive that you get, and they're probably tax deductible as well. So why not?
I agree, and I love, you guys summarize that perfectly. I can't really add much to it, but just add that I'm the same. I love what both of you two said there in terms of there's such a broad array of different things, right? And I think there's numerous benefits there. I've obviously got my specialty, which is boot camp. I'm always going to pick those boot camp ones. And now obviously more getting more into the social media and sales side of things as well. But it's also cool that I can go there and just get a snippet of something else. right? I'm not a big nutrition guy. It doesn't interest me as much as the exercise side of things. But if I'm going to a 4 or 5 day convention, I'll attend one of them just so I don't fall too far behind on that side of things.
Yeah.
And even it might be something that you rule out. There might be something that's like, oh yeah, I'm interested in this, but you go and you're like, actually I'm not that interested, so I'm not going to do it. But also just to try new things as well. So when I was over in IDEO in America with you guys, I went to some welcome thing and they said, hey, what we recommend you do is do one session that you're a complete beginner at. Right. And I chose hip hop dancing. You two have probably seen me dance. Not my forte, right? Especially my hip hop.
No way.
No way. I don't believe you're a beginner. I agree with that. I've
So,
seen your salsa, John.
Yeah. So, I did this hip hop class and I felt super uncomfortable and awkward at the start, but that was also a good feeling as well, because it was like, okay, this is how other people feel when they first walk into a gym. So that was cool. And then Brenda hit the nail on the head with the community, because I'm a big community person myself. You guys have seen me at the conventions. I spend more time talking to the person next to me than I do, listening there. That's cool as well. I've met some of my best friends at these conventions, and also just business opportunities. I've had so many different business opportunities just from people that I've met from here. And there's this old saying, it's, who you know is just as important as what you know. And that's, if you want to know important people, that's the place to go. So thanks for that summary, guys. Let's move on from here. Now, I think there's 2 ways we can go from here. We can either say, hey, let's go for all the different conventions and what you find different. And we'll do that at the end. But before, I'm sure there must be some common threads. Like in those 4 different countries, I'm pretty sure there must be some common threads that you're seeing no matter whereabouts you are in the world. This is the direction the fitness industry is going. Did you two find that? We'll go with that. The question will be, did you find there were common threads and similarities? And if so, what were they?
Yeah, for sure. So I suppose looking at it on a broad scale with a common theme of where the fitness industry is heading, or what you might need to be looking to include in your fitness business, whether it be PT, group fitness, or, like a boot camp, for example, what you might need to be looking to include. I think there's definitely a central theme coming through all of the different conferences. And I think a big one is a well-rounded approach to fitness. So it's not just going to be smashing someone in a half-hour HIIT class. See you later, at the door, see you next Monday. That's not going to cut it going forward. I think understanding the full picture of health, so understanding stress and sleep and all those sort of things, and how to manage that. I think that's a big factor that's coming through all of the conventions. I think understanding recovery, which again, stress, sleep, all those sort of things play, nutrition, all plays a part of recovery, and understanding how important recovery is. Same thing. So you're not going to be going to a HIIT session. Let's say you're doing a boot camp 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. It's not going to be HIIT Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But understanding that you need to have a variety in there, which is going to include things that are going to help downregulate your system, help you recover, and help you improve in the long run. So I think having that understanding is going to be more and more important. And
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I was going to say one of the things to me that stood out everywhere I went is the stress that we are now putting on wellness and overall health. So fitness, I don't think it's a word that now fits everything. Now fitness is a lot more broader than before, because we are talking about wellness, and that it's related to not only keeping fit to exercise and moving your body, but now it's about having a healthy mind, and also eating habits, sleeping patterns. How are you in your relationship, your friends, and trying to, as trainers, also get people to experience that. And that is part of your session. It's not only now you have 6-pack abs, right? That there's a need to broaden this how we treat wellness and well-being today. And I think the other thing that I want to say is how much the fitness industry is growing. I think they all point that out, how much nowadays, compared to say the 80s or the 90s, how normal people in their everyday life, they value fitness. They know they should be doing it. They know they have to sign up. They need to go to the gym. They know they need to move, all the health benefits that involves. Whereas before it was an option. I think nowadays we live in a society where it's not optional. People know how important it is. And that means the bigger the pie, the more we can share it, and the more we can grow it and get and benefit from it, I think.
Yeah.
Love
and
it.
I think going on from that also, knowing, like I've mentioned with that recovery stuff. So we've known for a while that, you have to exercise. It's that non-negotiable sort of thing. But now knowing that the science is catching up to say, okay, well, we need to start monitoring how hard we're pushing ourselves, and it's going together as a package now as well. I think that's part of that, that push to fitness.
Love it. Let's expand on a few of those, or I'll touch on the growing fitness market, because I think that's an awesome point for personal trainers, because a lot of the time we can get in like a scarcity mindset. Oh, there's so much competition, and oh, I'm never going to be successful because of this or because of that, or there's already a gym there, or there's already a boot camp there, and the fitness industry is just growing. So there's plenty of opportunity for everyone, and as Brenda mentioned, people are now willing to pay for it, right? So it's no longer like, oh, why should I be a personal trainer? No one's going to pay that. Hey, it's a non-negotiable. Now, I want to expand a little bit. So the common thread I sort of got from both of you was that it's not just about exercise anymore, right? You can't just, go to the park and do an exercise session and that's it. What do you guys recommend should be the next step for a trainer? So if someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, no, I'm not really talking about stress, or I'm not really talking about relationship issues, or I'm not really talking about nutrition, I'm just literally doing the session, what would be some tips you guys could recommend? What are some things they could either implement straight away, or if it's not an implement straight away, it might be, okay, where should I go to, what sort of things should I start looking at? What's the first step? Any feedback?
So a lot of the ones I noticed were things like going to that life coaching realm. So looking to further your knowledge via those avenues. That was a lot of the presenters had gone through that way and spoken about the benefits of including or having done a life coaching thing where they can then help manage the clients a bit better in that way, and then offering it on top of their package. So all of a sudden their boot camp, their PT thing now includes, let's say they go twice a week or whatever for their PT sessions. Now, once a month, one of those sessions is going to be a sit down, not necessarily a goal setting sort of thing, but it's a sit down life coaching style chat about where they're at on a variety of different things. So including those sort of things and having them factored into your business. I think that's one avenue of looking to improve. The other one is just continue to educate yourself and get knowledge with it. And then also if you're running your own boot camp, think how you can incorporate those things, maybe not yourself, but find someone who can. So one of the ones I went to was a boot camp lecture, and what the guy did was I think it was once every month or once every 8 weeks, he brought in someone for a seminar, and it was relationship people. It was one of them was a finance one, and he encouraged his clients to bring in their partners, their spouses. And so they'd all come in and he'd have someone there talking about finance, because as we all know, money is a huge stress in people's lives. So it's a pretty important thing to have someone coming in and chat to how to manage your finances. Not really related to boot camp, but when you think about it, one, it's going to, if they're able to alleviate some stress, they're more likely to come to their training, they're more likely to get better results. And it works well for the finance guy. Maybe he picks up a couple of clients from it as well. And, and it's, again, nothing to do really with boot camp, but it's just that extra step.
Yeah, I agree with you, absolutely. And then I would say, I think we actually, we include this in our bootcamp course very well, because sometimes you feel, okay, that's great. But if you are a very busy personal trainer going from session to session, you feel what? Like right now, I actually have to be a psychologist and call them up and talk about the problems, and it can be very stressful as a personal trainer to have to actually pull that into your shoulders, including with your own personal life, which is probably a mess, And so what I would say is, what can you do in that hour that you are with them? And for example, if you are in a group setting scenario, like a bootcamp, for example, in the first, say, arrive 10 minutes to 15 minutes early, set up everything so that when your clients arrive, don't be on your phone. Actually, one of the things that stood out to me in the CanFit Pro sessions was that the new commodity of the future is going to be connection. people are going to pay to get other people connection touch, like the one-on-one, because everything is so much online right now, relationships, that we miss that one-on-one interaction, that face-to-face, that connection with people. So I would say come 15 minutes earlier, set up your equipment, 5 minutes before the session, stand there with a smile, welcome your clients, talk about how they're doing with their lives, encourage them not to use their phone when they're waiting the session. You can use your phone when you leave. Right now we're into this together. So they start talking, communicating with each other, and trying to get to know them. Is their birthday? Well, make sure that you know that. Maybe when they're missing a few sessions, give them a phone call or send them a message. Hey, how's it going? Like, I don't want you to miss out on your goals. Like, should we reschedule your goals, or is there anything that is not working for you? And I think also what we're talking about in the fitness industry, in the conferences, is about understanding the different types of people. There are the different kinds of people, and people respond differently depending on what their personality traits are. And so that would include nutrition, well-being. Like some people like I don't want to talk about my family, just give me the workout. Some other ones, they don't care about the workout, they go because they want to have fun with other people. And so understanding those different kinds of people and their needs, and trying to address them as much as you can, I think that also contributes to the general well-being of your participants.
Wow. Okay. So I've taken a lot of notes there. I'm gonna summarize this for the listeners. We'll start with Travis's before I move on from there. So what I love about Travis's point were two things. A was the whole value add. Like for me, that sounds sick. Hold on, I'm going to go to a boot camp and pay to exercise, but I get free financial advice. Sign me up, right? And it's got nothing to do with fitness. And a lot of trainers do it from the fitness side of things. Okay, I'll bring in a nutritionist to talk about nutrition. I'll bring in a physio to talk about injuries, and that stuff's good too. But hey, why does it just have to be from the fitness industry? Fine, everyone loves money, right? Who's going to say no to a free finance thing? Relationships. Who wants to have a bad relationship, right? So I can go to this boot camp and exercise and get nutrition tips and get financial knowledge and get tips on relationships. Sign me up, right? So I think that's such a good point there. And also, as Travis mentioned, hey, yeah, it's good to educate yourself, which is important, but maybe it's not, you're not in a position to do it. So hey, bring someone else in who can, right? You focus on what you do really well, and then you bring in the finance expert. You bring in the relationship expert, and you just make it a win-win. Like that finance person, hey, that's free marketing for them. You're running a boot camp, you got 50 clients. Hey, come down here and speak to my 50 clients for free. I would do that in a second. So I love that side of things. So I think that's a huge takeaway you can do if you're listening to this. Now, Brenda's some awesome points there. I love the connection being a commodity, because I feel that myself. Because especially now at the moment, I'm living on my own, I work online. Hey, I'm a personal trainer, but I pay a personal trainer 4 times a week to go and train with them. Not so much for the knowledge side of things. Hey, I can do it on my own, but it's almost more for that connection side of things as well. Now, if my trainers weren't about connection, I get on really well with both of them. If they weren't about that and it was just about the exercise, I'm not going to train with them, because I need that connection there. So I think that's important. But in saying that, and Brenda backed this up really well as well, everybody's different. There's some people that, hey, they don't want the connection, right? They just want to go there and train. And there's some people that are the opposite. Hey, I prefer the connection more than the training. So it's about, okay, having a look at these different personality types and how can I make them happy? Whether it's like, all right, wait, I'm just going to pick on this one. I'm going to pick this one demographic here and just master that one demographic there, so that everybody who's doing that is going to be in this thing and I know exactly what it's like. Or if some people, come in and they're not quite like that, all right, I'm not going to push them to do it because I know what they're like. So I love both of your feedback there. Now let's move into the differences. So I think there's some cool things there. We could go a few different ways with these differences. I think it would be funny, what's Americans like compared to Kiwis, compared to Aussies, compared to Canadians. But also if someone's listening to this and they're like, all right, hey, I want to go overseas for one of these conventions. Which one am I going to choose? Now, we're not going to we might give a recommendation actually, but either way, it's going to be different for everyone, right? Just because Travis liked FILEX the best doesn't mean you're going to, or just because Brenda likes CanFit Pro the best doesn't mean you have to. But what can you tell us there, guys? Did you find any differences in either the cultures of the countries in terms of exercise, or even just in the conventions in general?
Yeah, they do all vary. But in saying that, I'll tell you, like in Australia, FILEX, it holds its own to the US one. So I think FILEX, I don't know if you know the numbers, Jono, but I think FILEX has about 3,000 people.
Yep, about a little bit less, about 2.5, I think they get. Yep.
2.5. I think FITEX is about, you know, like 1,000, maybe a bit less.
Yep.
Idea was 20.
Yeah, I think about 15 idea.
15,000, and then CanFit Pro I think was about 8 to 10.
Okay.
So you can see there on the different sizes that one plays a part on it. But Australia, considering it's what, a fifth of the size of the US in regards to the convention, we get some awesome presenters in. We get the same sort of quality. I think it just doesn't quite have the same depth. So whereas in the US you might be going, oh, every time slot there might be 2 or 3 that you're like, oh, should I do that one, or that one? I don't know. Whereas in Australia, there's one that stands out in each time slot, I feel, for the person. So I do think it's worthwhile going to the Australian one for sure. And I think understanding that it is world class, we do have, you know, one of the best ones in the world, hands down. Presenters, as I said, good quality. US is bigger, more depth in the presenters. So, you know, it's almost every time slot there's someone who you recognize a name, you know, anything. So there's always big name presenters. The audience is, you know, a bit more boisterous in the US. So, but I still found the presenters had a lot of time of day to chat to people and stuff like that. And Canada was sort of a mix between the two, a bit more laid back, a bit more like Australia. The size of the presentations weren't massive, so much more like FILEX I found. And so that was that way. And then the New Zealand one's just far more laid back again. So like the time, I like the New Zealand one a lot because you got a lot more time to chat to the presenters and different people. It felt like you had more time to chat and connect. That felt like that in New Zealand was the biggest benefit in New Zealand. Whereas the other ones were all fairly comparable. To be honest, they're all fairly comparable. But, you know, if you wanted to have a holiday and pass it off as a bit of a tax write-off, as we mentioned earlier, going to CanFit Pro or going to ID it's definitely worthwhile. But don't pass up on it. Don't pass up on Australia. You know, don't think I have to go to the US because US is the greatest at everything. That's what, you know. But Australia is very good. The Australian FILEX is very good, and it's one of my favourite ones. I mean, I can't really separate them to say I have a favourite one. They just have each small little differences in each one.
They say that you'll never forget your first one, right? So I think for us, we have a special place in our hearts for FILEX, obviously. Being the first one is the first time that you wow your mind. It's absolutely mind-blowing. If you have never been to one, I strongly recommend any. And I think that's when it really expands your knowledge and your understanding. And they're so well put together. You know, they have world-class presenters in all of them, and you actually get to see them, and sometimes become fans, and you actually go and see them. Like, remember me from New Zealand? I'm here supporting you now. You know, it's a great feeling. I think in essence, they're all the same. You know, in essence, they're all the same. They have the differences, you know, in size, and also what the country gives it a little bit more personality as well. I would say if you have to start anywhere, just go where the closest to you, right? And then take it from there, maybe go to a different one on a different year. But I'm not sure which one I enjoyed more. I just feel that FILEX has a really special, but FITEX was great as well. Yeah. It's really hard to pick one, to be honest.
I agree.
I think the idea is big. It's incredible, but you get to see less people as you start to get to know them, because there's so many options, so many people. But it's great at the same time. So.
Yeah, I love it. I'm the same as you two. So they've all got their different benefits, right? Like I love IDEA just for the size of it. It's like a Academy Awards, you know, there's thousands of people and everything's big and it's loud and it's cool. But in saying that, I also love New Zealand for the exact opposite reason. It's so small. You go to a presentation, there's 2 or 3. Didn't you go to a presentation once, Travis, and you were the only one there? You had to run it? What happened?
Me and one other. It was me and one other in a full day, one of the full day presentations. But I loved it, you know.
How cool is
that? We
Yeah.
probably got the most connections out of the FITEX one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you just spend all the time. You have all this time to actually hang out and
like
get to know each
a
other.
bunch of people that we now have connected with at FILEX and a few other times have come from meeting them at FITEX and being able to spend a bit of time with them at FITEX, because it's just, they're there, and a lot of them will go to the presentations. A lot of them are just floating around, and they introduce you to the next person. And, you know, like in everything, there's their little circles of, you know, presenters and people like that. And then you learn who their mentors are, and you go, oh, wow, that person I saw in America. So that's some of the stuff that I've found super interesting, is some of the people that I've heard in FITEX, and they talk about people that they respect. All of a sudden, the people they respect, I've seen them present in CanFit Pro. I saw them present in IDEA, or potentially even FILEX. You know, so that's been a really cool thing as well to see. Like, it's, you know, taking that step above even more.
But you, Jenna, you've been to most of them as well. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the same as you guys. I just love them all for completely different reasons, you know. And I'm the same as Travis, and I think you, Brenda. I can't pick one. I can't give you a 1, 2, 3, 4 or a 1, 2, 3. I've been to 3 of them, but I can say that if you're listening to this, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I don't think you will go to New Zealand and be like, oh, this is it. Or I don't think you'll go to America and be like, oh, it's not as big as what they said. I really like all of them for their own reasons. But hey, guys, moving on from here. Now, you two are both huge mentors in the fitness industry. You've helped thousands of trainers. I'm curious, where do you two go? You know, and listening to this podcast, people are probably listening to this like, these two know so much. Like, you know, did they always know it, or did they learn it? Like, where do you two go? Any books you can recommend? Any podcasts? Any social media figures? Travis, you got anyone?
Brenda's the reader and the book person. I listen to some podcasts. I do a lot of reading, so a lot of my stuff is super on the training side of things. That's where my passion lies. So, and being able to see some of the people like you know, Kelly Starrett, we saw Christian Thibodeau from T Nation. If anyone, I don't know how to say his last name, big long French Canadian dude, surname. You know, Michelle Delacourt from Canada as well. Mike Fitch from Animal Flow. All these people that I'd followed, you know, for a considerable amount of time. I've now been able to see present and you know, chat to them and spend a bit of time with them. It's been really cool. Perry Nicholson as well. Like, so people like that, that I've been able to read and follow and just, you know, then be able to see present. Podcast things, you know what I'm going to say. I love my Joe Rogan. I love listening to his different things, and one, because it's just the variety. I think he gets in a lot of different people that, one, you know, like a lot of the MMA guys that I enjoy listening to, people like Ben Greenfield, who's big in the fitness industry as well. So that's someone that I got introduced to by Joe Rogan, for example, where I now go, okay, cool, I'm going to check out what Ben Greenfield's doing. Stuff like that. And then, you know, Tim Ferriss is another good one. He has a good range of different people on there as well. Aubrey Marcus, who's another one, introduced to via Joe Rogan, gets very similar guests, but again, it's more in that fitness realm, and he does some cool stuff as well. But yeah, I think they're sort of the ones that I gravitate to.
And Jonah's podcast.
And this one,
for sure. Well, for me, you know, I don't have a lot of time to sit down. I love what Jonah does. He wakes up at 5 a.m. every single day, reads for an hour. Then before he goes to bed, also reads for an hour. I find that if you can do that, oh, that would be great. I run a house, you know, have a job, you know, family, and I feel I don't have a lot of time to just sit down. And I actually find it anxious and stressful to sit down and read a book. I just, you know, I feel like, oh my God, I could be doing so many things right now. So what I do is I discover audiobooks. And they're a great way to, it's kind of like podcasts where you get to listen to the book instead of reading it. And that's great for multitasking. You can be doing the dishes or whatever else, and and do your routine, go for a walk or your exercise and listen to the book instead of having to sit down and read it. And I have so many. I love self-improvement books. I love business related books. Anything, but if I could suggest a few, I have my audiobook here with my books. Definitely the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm sure, Jonah, you read it already.
My favorite. I read that one. So no, sorry, you go.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Yeah. Well, no, not continue with that book because I was going to suggest another one.
Oh yeah, no, Think and Grow Rich. So yeah, that's my all-time favorite actually. I read it every couple months. I read it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly,
And it's not because I'm a slow reader. It's there's just so much good stuff in there that I read it regularly.
I absolutely agree. I do it too as well. And the other one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm sure you all have heard of that one. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's a massive one as well. The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. I love that one. One of my favorite ones is called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it teaches you how to focus on one thing at a time until you master that, and then you move on to the next. So that's brilliant as well. And I would actually recommend as well Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, that was what an inspiration. He's done everything. So I found that book, funnily enough, super inspiring.
Yeah. I'm big into biographies, and I've read tons of biographies, and was only looking yesterday for a new biography to read, and was looking at like the top 40 biographies, and I'd read most of them. Funnily enough, that wasn't on it. But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger's was his hands down. You're talking about a guy who has started life in sort of, post Second World War, came as an immigrant, successful he was far more successful in real estate, and he was already, making money and as a businessman before he was into bodybuilding and acting and, and then eventually politics. That's a crazy story.
And I think against all odds. You would think, he didn't know English, and maybe I can relate that because English is my second language, obviously, and he didn't speak any English. He went from, completely different careers. They said, look, you'll never make it in the film industry because you're too big, you don't fit the stereotype, and you'll never get a leading role with that accent and with that name. I mean, it won't even fit in the billboards, So, and he was like, I don't care. That's my name. I'm not going to change it. And despite all that, he just made it. It's a really good book. Recommend that one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, I can throw out a few biographies. Richard Branson's is a great one as well. I think it's Losing Your Virginity. Richard Branson one that I've read is really good. I've read a lot of sporting ones, like Andre Agassi, Jelena Jokic is a great one. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom is a great one. There's so many documentaries, biographies that I think are really well and truly worth reading.
And I think that the one that I'm reading at the moment, I'll just share, in CanFit Pro, where I went to a session that talked about, it was an idea actually, sorry, that talked about sleep and how sleeping patterns and how badly in our society nowadays we don't give sleep any credit, and they say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or there's no time for sleeping. People who sleep are lazy, and it's one of the things talking about from the evolution of mankind overall. They said the only thing that we haven't been able to get rid of is sleep, and so it must be something really important. And they talked about how important it is to heal your body and to all the benefits that sleeping has. So I'm reading now Sleep Smarter by Sarah
Gottfried.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw another one onto that on the same thing. Joe Rogan's podcast. I think it's Matthew Walker. Matthew Walker was an awesome podcast on that one, all about sleep as well. He was another guy, and I think that's referenced a fair bit in that book.
Yes, they're similar.
Yeah, Matthew Walker was another one, and so if you want to learn a little bit about that and want to listen to it on a podcast style, that was a really good one as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to maybe read something about self-improvement, business, and then health, and then related to your business, something more specific.
Love it. Yeah, I'll read out what I've got there. Once again, madly taking notes. I think we've got a year's worth of book supplies for the listeners. I'll just read them out, make sure I've got them. Let me know if I missed anything, guys. So we've got Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. We've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. We've got How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. We've got The One Thing. Who's The One Thing by, Brenda?
It's by Gary Keller.
Gary Keller, awesome. 5-Second Rule, is that Mel Robbins?
Yes.
Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Mm-hmm.
Travis's biographies. We've got Richard Branson. We got Andre Agassi. We've got Djokic. We've got Mandela.
Yeah.
And we've also got a couple books on sleep. So there's Sleep Smarter, which is the one Brenda recommends. The Matthew Walker, is that a book, Trav, or is that a podcast book as well?
There's a book, yeah. Matthew Walker has a book, but I don't know the actual book.
Yeah, and for all those creative people out there, those maybe that you feel like you've lost the connection between your inspiration and your business, I would recommend the book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's more maybe on the girly side, perhaps, but it's fantastic. It talks about inspiration and the relationship between human beings and creativity, and it's brilliant. Whenever I feel low or I'm not really motivated or inspired, I just listen to that book. It's great.
Wow, love it. All right. Well, hey, guys, that's all we've pretty much got time for today. Is there anything I forgot to mention? Anything I missed? Anything you want to add on?
No, I think I think if you get the chance, go out and get to a conference. If it's FILEX, that's awesome. If it's FITEX, that's awesome. If it's IDEA, if it's CanFit Pro, it doesn't matter. I know the Asia conference is coming up again or coming up soon. So that's one where
Well, we have two left. I would say that we must go to. One is the Asian one, and the other one is in Germany.
Yeah, apparently Germany's got a big one as well. So apparently the biggest one is in Germany for Europe. So we have tried to go to a UK one, but wasn't overly successful on that one. But yeah, apparently there's one in Germany that's the biggest in Europe. So I think just if you get the chance to go to one of them, wherever you're located, do it because it's worth it. And like I said, it gives you the opportunity to broaden your horizon and then also narrow your focus. So whether it be you find that you go, you know what, I love the boxing stuff, or you know what, I love the social media stuff, which we didn't even touch on. That's something that's common through all of them as well. Like,
yes,
not only is that recovery element really strong, so is that social media element is strong as well, and through all of them. And you find the little areas, and you might find someone who you resonate with, and then you go off and do some courses with them specifically, or they might talk about who they've learnt from, and then you go, I'm going to look up who they've learnt from, and then you might find them at a presentation. So there's, I think going to the conferences, you're not going to waste your money. You're not going to, you're only going to get value out of it in the long run.
Yeah, I would say invest in yourself, and believe in yourself. You can do this. And to me, it was, I think, to summarize it, I have this mental image of Helen Benderberg in the 25th anniversary of CanFit Pro. She came out to the stage. She was amazing. Well, the keynotes in IDEA and CanFit Pro, well, they were all great.
FITEX was good.
The FITEX was, oh my God, it was great.
Favorite, Mr. Retention.
We go back to the I can't pick one. But FILEX as well. But she came out dressed up in the 80s, with the leg warmers. It was hilarious. She actually had, like the bikini thing that goes on top of the tights, the hair. It was incredible. And then she started doing the aerobics and everything so traditional, and she showed us the trip and the evolution of fitness from the 80s up until today, and going through, when they started adding the step, then they started adding the pump bar. Yes,
so a lot of it was group fitness based, but yeah.
Then they got the bicycles and all this stuff, and the trainers, the battle ropes, all these things, up until what we have today. And then she said, if you want to understand how much the fitness industry is growing and how much we influence people, just look around, go outside and pay attention, because nowadays people wear fitness clothing as a relaxing, and that's their daily wear. That's what people are wearing. So it's part of everybody's life. It's just, is my message getting across?
Yeah.
What I thought is that, and that blew my mind. And she showed a photo of what it was cool to be, I don't know, a relaxing person walking in the 90s compared to someone today where you have the white Nike shoes and and she said, pay attention, the clothing, the fashion industry in the fitness industry is a multi-million-dollar company, and they make so much money out of it because now everybody is buying these things. They want to express who they are by what they wear in fitness terms. So I think that was mind-blowing for me. And I think it really summarizes what we are doing in the fitness industry and where it's going from now.
Awesome. Love it. Awesome summary. So, hey guys, if any of our listeners want to follow you on social media, what's the best? Should they follow your Instagram, Trav, add you as a friend on Facebook, Brenda?
Yeah.
What's the best for you two?
Just come and visit us at our house. We'll have some mate, the Argentinian drinking tea.
Yeah, no, Instagram, Travis the Kettlebell Guy, Facebook as well. Obviously the community group that we've got, you know, our Fitness Education Online community group, any of the above, you know, for sure. Look us up, ask us questions. We're here to help.
Yes, Brenda Romaniello, and
On Instagram,
it's my Facebook account. So just become friends. And well, for Fitness Education Online, we have You Are Travis, the Kettlebell Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook group, Facebook page. Follow us everywhere. We share tips all the time, and we're always looking to connect with more trainers.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much for your time, guys.
Thank you, Jonah.
See you guys.
Did he pause it?
All right, yeah. Oh, you can turn it off.
What's going on?
I wanted to do that at the end.
Okay.
They might
Yeah.
it's at my place and you're at your place.
That's awesome.